Hey guys, this is Production Music Live with another tutorial. We are going to check the style of Oshi. Some of our subscribers were asking for a remake on this style, so let's take a look at it. And we are using Ableton Standard elements plus Massive. So this is the software you need, Ableton Standard and Massive. I have this structure already laid out. It's quite close to the track Think About by Oshi. We have a kick over here. I'm talking about this stuff later. We have hi-hats in this group and we have snares in this group. We need to separate them in this style over here. And then there are a couple of bass sounds done with Massive. And we also have a song group over here containing pads and key sounds and a couple of arpeggios. And down here we have vocals, so some vocal chops. We don't really have the original vocals, so this is just an instrumental version and will miss this vocal feeling, but we are trying to produce everything around the vocal. What you notice when you listen to this style is kick and snare are quite loud compared to the other stuff. So standing out quite a bit in the mix if we listen again. So that's fairly unusual, but it's the way you have to mix it. And if you're wondering why I'm mixing at such a low volume, I kind of try to start quite low always, because you can always make your mix louder in the end, for example on your master channel. But in this case, I went quite low down, so I had to put a couple of utilities on the master channel to put everything back up. Still, we have a lot of headroom left. For now, I'm going to take the mastering chain off and I'm going to put this utility on, and let's listen again. If we compare it, the effect of the mastering chain getting a bit more balance into the mix. And we have a tutorial on this mastering chain. Just check the channel, mastering chain in Ableton only, because we're only using Ableton effects on this chain. And well, let's go into detail and let's take a look at the kicks, for example, here. So I'm going to copy this over here and we can take a look at the notes. So we're playing 85 beats per minute and this is our kick pattern throughout the track. And I actually had a tiny competition with Tom. We were trying to get this kick sound right. So we took a couple of kicks and layered them and distorted them. And in the end, we wanted to find something like this. I'm going to show you how you can do that. For example, if you need this type of distorted kick, some interesting stuff comes along on the way of doing that. So let me quickly copy those two. So for example, over here, this is a sub kick, fairly low, and this is just the top end of a kick I recorded and distorted massively, as you can see over here. You see this EQ here. Just focusing on the higher stuff. And if we combine such a sub kick and such a, well, higher frequent kick, we're getting interesting stuff. So I'm going to take some higher and off here. Well, let's use the high cuts. So if we combine those two now, you get this very interesting transient. So, and now if you play around with volumes, for example, the sub kick louder. Okay, we need to make sure we go down in the overall volume of those two guys. So now I take this one and make it louder. Well, pick this one, make it louder. And this one compared quieter. So you have this sub kick kind of thing. And you're just adding a bit of clickiness now. A bit more clickiness. And now you can really move it up and make it stand out. I think this is also a pretty interesting kick in this relation to the sub. Sounds like something you could use as well. Take it down a bit again. And now play around with the EQ here. Just wanted to show you how you can layer those kicks together. You're getting some interesting sounds and very interesting snappy kicks in that way. In the end, we went for this one. Well, in the end, we went for this one, and we are happy with that one. It's a short kick, but it has this distorted kind of feel to it. And that was what we were looking for. So very short. Okay, so let's put in some of the snares. Let's take this snare, copy it, and the second one, I copy the second one as well, and just hit 0. To deactivate it for now, and you can see we are playing this pattern. And I'm playing those two with less velocity over here because they're standing out quite a bit if you don't do that. Because those are still in a sidechained area and those are standing out, so you need to take down the velocities a bit. Because else you're getting a lot of dynamics in there and maybe you don't want that. Together with the kick. Yeah, and you can see I used sample 25 out of the premium here. So a snare 25, this one. And the other one I'm using is 33, so that one. If we combine those two, and play them both. Alright, and you see I have a couple of things on the channel. So first I'm having a bit of track delay here, 4 milliseconds earlier. And this snare is panned a bit to the right. On this snare I'm using a bit of bit reduction. And I'm rolling off some low end and some higher stuff, putting on the chorus, very important here, to add some width. And utility, controlling the volume, a bit of EQ, cutting the low stuff even more. And a teeny tiny drums room reverb. just putting in this room kind of feeling. And if we look at this one, I'm cutting off some resonant parts here. If we listen to this resonant part, yeah, definitely don't want that. That really messes up the mix if you keep it in there. And then we have a chorus as well. And the same tiny drums room, reverb over here, and a sidechain compressor behind. That's not really necessary, actually, just copied that one from some other track, I think. Anyways, if we go to the group, in the group, we are summing up with a full parallel compressor. So the glue compressor over here, drum, full parallel, this preset. Rolling off a bit more low end and mid-side mode EQ, taking off some mid-low signal and keeps it on the side. I've done that before. You've probably seen that before on the channel. So this is our basic beat. And now we add some hi-hats here. The hi-hats compared to snare and kick are quite low in their amplitude. And that's sort of the style of Oshi somehow. So let me quickly copy all those elements. Is there some more? Oh, it's just a reverse crash. So, and let's do the same thing. Deactivate some of those and start with the first one. Open hi-hat. So you see, I'm looking for this long, tiny bit of feel of a hi-hat here, and I'm rolling off almost everything in the lower frequencies. And I'm adding chorus here to widen the sound again. And let's look at the group quickly. So you can see I'm rolling off a lot of stuff again in the lower frequencies because they're really not needed here. And I'm adding a bit of drums room reverb. And I'm triggering a sidechain that plays the kick pattern. And we also need to copy it. So it's that one. On this hi-hat sound, that's not important. We have a quicker one playing down here, and that one really needs the sidechain. So this is also from Deep Premium, sample open hi-hat dry 7. So the original sample is this one. Just also attack time up here, so it doesn't have that much transient. If we were to put that down, have more transient. So let's go to the next hi-hat. So fairly simple pattern. We're just playing 16th notes over here, and we are leaving out the last one of the bar. And compression on top, because else you're focusing on the transient of the sound. But we want it a bit smoother, so compression. Attack time down, so we really take out the transient. See, if I'm just to see how this works, if I'm putting up the attack time, the transient really comes through here. So let's keep that down. and focus a bit on the tail of the sound. So EQ behind another chorus. It sounds a bit harder if you put the redux on top. So bit reduction, redux, this plugin over here, put that in here, put it on soft and just a tad up. Without it, it sounds like a computer sound, and with it, it sounds so much more natural. It's really cool. And another very harsh EQ, if I were to put this off, we really notice the difference. So that's nice. And of course some simple delay, 4 to 6 over here, feedback and dry wet up a bit, 20% more or less, and those are not used. So this is our next hi-hat. Let's take this one. So you see I'm playing short and long. And it's a dry, closed hi-hat, and the story remains the same here, putting almost the same effect chain, just taking off this resonant part here. No, it's actually, I want to get rid of this tone in there. Okay, let's play it together. And now you can see how this short hi-hat compared to this longer one and play together with this upper one here add groove. You really get it groovy now. And you see it only happens every fourth hit over here. So you have a distinguished pattern. You have short hi-hat here, then you're playing a longer one combined with the very long one on top, then we're playing a short one again, followed by the longer one, but not yet the longest one, and so this really grooves down the road here. So this is really the key to the groove in this track, or one important element. The bass also plays a big part later. Let's put on this clock kind of thing. It's just a recorded clock ticky kind of sound. And you see it's playing super fast. Maybe I'm turning this up a bit. I know, I just heard something like that in the original track, so I thought I'd put it in here as well. And just put some sidechain compression on it. But we actually need to trigger the sidechain. Okay, and bit reduction again, compression, rolling of the attack of the sound, some chorus and a high pass filter and some delay, of course. So the last one is this closed hi-hat. Let's have a look at this one as well. What is this one doing? It's playing 16th notes as well, but it's sidechained as well. The first hit is always sidechain, so we go like pup, 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 pup. So this wraps up our drum section right now. And let's take the bass sound in here. And I'm going to copy this pattern now. This is a 16th notes bass. So we're playing quite a quick pattern here. We are playing G sharp, G, F, and G. And we are playing this massive sound, which is massive 16th bass over here. It's a bit of a saw wave, a bit of a sine wave for lower frequencies. Notice we are going down 2 octaves over here in the pitch. And we are playing a low pass filter, controlling the envelope with the first envelope. And this chorus effect over here really makes a difference. Four voices, pan position up to stereo. Sidechained as well from the kick, from this pattern here. I want it lower sounding, so I'm rolling off a couple of higher frequencies here and those frequencies that are quite muddy sometimes. If we put on the mastering chain quickly and we compare it with the mastering chain, should sound a bit more powerful still. So this is what we are going to get in the end, but I'm leaving it out for now. Alright, so let's go on with a couple of pad sounds here. We have this pad, for example. I'm copying it. This is our glassy air kind of pad, air pad. And taking off this velocity down here, so we can see a bit more of those notes. So those are the chords we are playing. If you're interested in how to come up with chords like those, we just put together a course on harmony and chord progressions, and you can check that out. I'm throwing a link in the description. If you focus on the bass notes over here, G sharp, G, F, and G, so that's a very simple pattern, creating a bit of tension downwards, a bit of melancholic movement downwards and back up, a bit of positive kind of attitude in the end of the chord progression here. And some added tones chords here as well, so making the sound a bit more interesting. So we have this nice minor chord down here. And an added tone. So this is more or less what Oshi is doing in his track. If we look at the effect chain quickly, we see we have sidechain trigger here. We have this frequency shifter. This one is not working, so I can take it off. It's working on another one. We are rolling off this belly fat in the mid frequencies because we want to leave room for vocals in there. So we are moving it more to the background with this EQ shape over here, and also with the reverb even more. So it's a very long reverb as well. And some delays just to get a bit more dynamic into the sound in the background. And in this case, we were playing M-Talk wave, saw wave, speech wave. So it sounds like a background choir kind of thing. Okay, so let's take another pad sound. This one, let's copy this pattern as well. It's basically the same pattern. And over here we are adding some warmth, so don't worry about this long chain over here. It's just one of my favorite chains and I put it into an instrument rack. So if you're really happy with a chain, you can select things and say group. And then it will group it into an instrument rack and we can actually save that. So it's a really cool feature, and then you can save some predefined effect chains. And this one is very basic pad sound. We just have a saw wave, a square wave, and another, this one is not even playing, and a white noise down here, and a low pass filter. That's what we need. We don't need a fancy voicing, we just need one voice over here because it's supposed to be very basic. And if we use that one now with the chorus opened up, so this Ableton chorus, I can control this chorus here with this macro control. And some compression behind it. Just controlling the dynamics of the sound. And a sidechain compressor here. A utility. This is a reverb. If we were to take off this reverb. And we still have another reverb behind it. So this is not the perfect way of doing this, but a quick one, I guess. So you see, I also have this belly-shaped EQ over here, and another reverb, a long reverb behind it. And again, this simple delay, just as in the effect chain before. So this is usually the case if you have several pad sounds. They kind of effect-wise sound quite similar, because that one is focusing on the choir parts and this one is focusing on the paddy parts. And if we are adding in this other one as well, this one's just for those swells. So supposed to add in some swells in the beginning. So if we look at the fourth envelope of this sound, you can see a little bit of attack over here and almost no decay level, and just whoop, going up there, and then we are staying here. All right, we have another pad sound down here, this one. So this is really nice layering. We have the choir part, we have the paddy kind of part, we have this swelly attacky part over here, and now we are getting this organ kind of feeling. And I'm pushing them all into the background like this. Same reverb and even doubled delay. I don't think this is necessary, so this is just a copy. But it does sound better with it. So I'm leaving it in here. Anyways, you can take it off if you don't like it. I'm putting this template into the description. If we open up the sound, we see saw, saw, and squares not being used. Decay is also leveled out quite early already. If we play it all together. So now we have our nice paddy layers, and we can go ahead and have a look at this arpeggio sound down here. So we are playing those notes. I'm basically always playing some notes from the scales. So I'm trying to remain within the scales of our pads. So if we were to draw down the scale of all these pad sounds, we will end up with a lot of possible notes we can play our melody on. Again, we made a course on this and you can check the description if you don't know too much about it. And you can see this sound is always a bit late because I don't want it too accurate. So I'm delaying it by 23 milliseconds over here. I'm putting on a reverb on the sound, a bit of delay, and taking out those frequencies. I wasn't looking for those, and although they sound nice, but I wasn't looking for them in this track over here, and rolling off a bit more. There's also some nasty frequencies, so you always see if this is shaped like this, mostly there's some resonant thing going on. That's not really needed in the track, so that's why I'm taking this off. Alright, let's play around with some vocal shots here. Since we don't have any vocal tracks over here, I'm just replacing them with a couple of shots. So let's take a look at this one. Just put up the transposition over here, rolling off some low end. Okay, that's really necessary. And a bit of chorus and a bit of filter. It's just one note. It's just playing the first note in the beginning here. And that one is answering over here. Same sample, just pitched higher. And then it's playing shorter, of course, higher pitched. And this one is an Atmo. Put on loop mode over here, I just want this part. Here we have a higher whispery kind of thing. Alright, so we are basically through with a couple of those elements already. And what else is there? We quickly copied this part here. In the beginning, we are just playing those pads with a swelly square sound here. And basically this pad sound copied again, but with a slightly different touch. Oh, with less filter. So this is how we start the track. There are no sidechains needed over here. We don't need the pumping feeling without the beat. And in this part over here, there's singing in the original. Something is happening or somebody's talking, so that's why we're keeping this empty for now. And then now in this part over here, we are taking off the arpeggios and we are playing a sub kick along, which supports the bass notes under our kick. So that's just playing around with this short kick sample and a sub bass. Make sure you're on headphones or on subwoofer speakers. You can see over here with this other wide 16th notes bass, I'm putting in another sidechain here and I'm triggering the signal of the sub bass because I don't want those two bass sounds at the same time. So I'm triggering the signal and I'm rolling off this bass for every time this sub kick is playing. Making sure our mix is staying clean. Up here I have a key. It's basically this glassy pad and taking the envelope shorter, so we have a key sound. Alright, if we go into the build part over here, we have our swelly pads from the beginning. We have a sub bass playing along over here. We will see that in a minute. We have a couple of arpeggios playing, and those arped leads are coming back in here again, but slightly distorted. So I'm already announcing this with a reverbed arpeggio sound over here. If we take a look at the reverb, you can see it's far away and then it just comes back into very close to your ear right before the drop. So if we listen in solo mode, and supporting this drop, we also have a frequency shifter on the master. So you can see this is only playing over here. So this frequency shifter on the master is doing this tape stop kind of effect right in front of the second chorus drop. If you listen to everything here, we need to start earlier. And we have a bit of clipping, so let's take down this thing. So there we go. Let's put on the mastering chain for the remaining stuff and put this utility off. So what else is in this break? We have this break arpeggio kind of thing. So starting low at lower volume. I've taken that out of those other arpeggios and focused on this D sharp note. So we have a bit of tension here, and I put this one, this sound, this plucky sound into monophone mode, into a bit of attacky feel in the beginning over here, and time up so we have it gliding. And I'm supporting that sound with an even harder sound, more clickiness. Now you can also see we have this tiny snare roll over here. Right in front of our drop. And the velocities are very low to a bit higher and high. And this sub bass over here is just playing along with those pads in a break to make sure we have some subby frequencies covered. So this is what it's doing together with the pads. And now I have those other arpeggios compared to those ones in the beginning here. Those are very clean, and over here those ones are a bit dirty. You can see I put on some tube and a bit crusher. And also vibrato. And we have another squarey kind of sound. This just for the beepy parts on top. It's the square wave over here. And this sine wave. And they're put together, and I put a guitar lead solo compressor on top of them. Is that playing? Just adding a bit more drama, and I notice Oshi is playing those quite loud out together with the snares and the kicks, so I'm doing the same thing over here, really taking them out there. So there we go. This is our Oshi style remake. Also putting on this mastering chain. Again, as I said, there's a separate tutorial on this chain. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Check the description for those drum sounds and presets and the template. Also for our course on harmony and another course on how to make a track from scratch. Subscribe to our channel and I hope to see you next time.